3, 2, 1. What up, man? What you snacking on?
What up?
What up, man? Tell us
Hey,
your
when's the
name.
last time you
What
had
you
one of these
snacking on?
pork rinds, man?
Pork rinds?
Yeah.
At your house, remember?
No, but like, you've had them after.
I did. I
When's the
feel
last
I
time you
feel
had them?
like I feel like the pork rinds are best when you're frosty and you're chilling with your homie.
Well, I tried them non-frosted, and that's good too.
They're pretty good.
They
So,
make me want to get frosty. You know what I mean?
so how about that PS5? What do you
Oh
think?
yeah.
What'd you think about that?
Well, it's got pretty good memes. Seen a few. Hold on, let me pull it up. I want to be able to look at this picture.
I think
Well, I'm talking
that
shit.
I
Hey, if link me up if you have any pictures we
I
could talk about
I
of the
think I
PS5. Yeah.
think the design is let's be honest here. Like both Xbox and PlayStation's designs are a little like wonky, but I don't know, like they're cool too. Like they're awkward but they're cool at the same time. Like I've seen the router meme and I fucking laugh.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. It does look like it. I didn't think of that at first because I'm like trying to realize what I'm looking at. You know what I mean?
You seen the grill? Also,
You can put this on its side too, huh?
it'd be hard to do with this
No,
app.
I think they had a picture of it at one point. I thought I seen one of the console on its side next to the controller.
Yeah, yeah, they're out there.
PS5 console on its side, yeah.
I don't know. So, what do you think about the digital edition? Like, as a collector, I'm definitely going for the physical, with the disc drive. I don't
Oh,
know. Like,
it's not a real picture. The one I was talking about. Never
I'm
mind.
not, I'm
But
not, I'm not ready for digital, man. Like, I don't think I'll ever be until the day they say, "Yo, we're not making physical games anymore." Then at that point, I have no option. But like, if uh if there's an option for a physical drive and a physical like to buy physical copies as a
uh-huh.
collector, I like to collect this stuff. I like something tangible. Like I like to unwrap like that. There's a huge nostalgia with like going to the store, picking it up, like driving home, unwrapping it, smelling the fucking box and playing,
Yeah.
There's a huge like you miss all that when you go digital and some people are cool with that. A lot of people are lazy, like they don't want to get off their ass. And a lot of people just they don't care about that factor. And it's not just purely nostalgia. It's like it goes back to just I like having a shelf with all these games that I've bought and because I don't know, like there's always this like small little fear in the back of my mind that like, all right, all of these things are a service, right? So
Mhm.
let's say like PlayStation goes under one day, hypothetically, and all your games are online. Like, is that promised? Like, is that service promised to you? You know what I mean?
You know,
But
a funny way to look at that is, I kind of just realized that now when it comes to the PC, they've already gone all digital. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Any game you ever purchase on a computer shall forever be playable, no matter what.
But what
You
about
know,
what about your games on? I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what about your games on like Steam? Like, say Steam went under one day. They filed bankruptcy. Can you still access your Steam games, or is that all gone?
I'm sure they'll find a way.
Yeah.
Cause like you download it to your computer and now it's on your computer. You know what I mean?
True.
So you
But
just keep it on your computer.
right. Yeah. I don't know.
Cause like all my games are downloaded on my computer, so you can pop them in and out. You can multitask whole games. switch between like what you're running and then load up another game and just swap between the two.
Right.
So you're waiting for a match to start. It's like, just throw in Grand Theft Auto 5 and play that. Between the lobby times.
The power of PC.
Yeah, and they're all digital, and I've been okay with it for this long, and trust me, like I love collecting like the big boxes. You know what I mean?
Like a collector's edition, or
no, like PC's games when they put them on the shelf, they would just fight for shelf space by making their boxes bigger than the competitors.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
So they all had huge ass boxes. You know what I mean? And it's like that's something that you'll never see again.
PC is cool, man. Like we were talking about earlier. I obviously PC is always gonna have the power and everything, but I always go back to, and this is obviously why I love video games, is just like the games itself. On console, I like the console because of the how simple it is. Like it dates back to just like, hey, this is a console. You shove a game in there. You shove something up there. You connect it. You're good. Like PC is just, for a lot of people, PC is a different language. And just building one and all that. When as opposed to just buying a console, it's pretty self-explanatory. You hook it up. You buy the games, and you're there. And I like that simplicity. And of course, consoles are getting more powerful. Like we're seeing that with the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, these mid-generation like upgrades where we're already seeing like 4K and stuff like that. So the Series X and the PlayStation 5, they're going to be they're beefy. Like they're going to be pretty beefy, And like it's interesting, right? Because you can go out there and build a PC, right? You can build a PC and you're spending around, let's say $700 to $1,000, assuming that you have like a keyboard and all that stuff, and you want to get like like a pretty good graphics card and all that. You're probably gonna spend like around, I'd say $700 to $1,000 to maybe $1,500 if you want to go a little bit more higher end. But then you have these consoles that are like, all right, they're already going to be doing 4K. They're talking about 60, like the Xbox Series X is talking about like 120 frames per second. Let's slow down. Let's do 60 first. But like, that's cool. I want to see what the PlayStation 5 is going to do technically. But like, we're already getting to that point. And let's say these consoles are $500, which is a fair assumption of that. Like, there's this weird thing with consoles. Like if you go too high, like the PS3 days where they sold that console at $600, which is fucking
for a long time. Huh?
It's a lot of money, and it's asking the consumer to spend a lot of money, and you gotta think about it this way, right?
Hey, do you remember the MotorStorm trailer?
Yeah.
And I thought that was the PS3. Fuck,
yeah.
Man. I was like, damn, that looks like so much fun, but the game was nothing like that.
Well, that's what they did with Killzone. You remember that Killzone trailer where it was like they showed
up on a bridge, right?
Well, they showed like this first person view, and we all assumed that it was going to be like the actual first person, or that's what the game was going to look like, and it didn't look like that. That happened to end up being CGI. But I don't know, like the consumer, the consumer is the majority of the consumer is, I would say, like a casual gamer. They don't do this all the time. And then there's the hardcore audience who do this shit all the time, but that's a small amount of people compared to like the casual, consumer. And that casual consumer doesn't want to spend $600 on a console that they're not going to use every day. This is not something that they love to do, and $600 is a lot of money. So I feel like 500 is the sweet spot, and you got to be fair, right? Like the consoles are going to be pretty powerful. It wouldn't make any sense to be $400, because it does seem like these consoles are leaping pretty high when it comes to like the technology and everything. I feel like $500 is where we're gonna land at for both consoles. And this is like the funny thing is there's like a cold war between like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X right now, because they're both waiting for one of them to reveal the price so the other one can kind of like
retaliate a little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
change the numbers.
For sure, that's what they're doing. If the PlayStation, like, if the Series X comes out and they're like, yo, this is a $500 machine, and that's totally fair, and PlayStation, you know, hypothetically, PlayStation comes out and says, you know what, we're gonna sell the PS5 for $400, dude, people would lose their fucking minds after what we've seen with the games. And you're telling me that this console's $100 cheaper, like it was in the beginning of the generation? Yo, Xbox is already like, it's dead on arrival.
Yeah, that's a insta kill right there.
That's what they're doing, and we know for a fact that these consoles, these companies, they a lot of the times they don't make a profit off of the console. Like, they actually take a loss. What they make a profit of is the fact that that console now is in your home, and they make money off of like first party studios and like subscriptions like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live, and then you know, stuff like that. Like, they make money off of you over the years. They don't usually make money off of you from the console. They usually take a hit. Mm-hmm. And I can totally see like the PlayStation just completely undercutting the Xbox, selling it cheaper, taking it at a loss, but knowing that, look, we're going to make all this money again later on. But it'll be interesting. I feel like $500 is a fair price point for the PlayStation 5.
Whatever the price ends up, it's going to be worth it. You know what I mean?
It is.
But the question is, like, what are you willing to pay for it? You know, that's something else.
Well, I can tell you right now, like, as someone who lives and breathes this shit, who loves it, it's a passion, I'm going to buy it day one. And I've also even talked about buying the Series X day one. I do want to see.
Yeah, I'll get it day one too.
I'll get it day one, and a lot of my friends and a lot of people on the internet, like Twitter and stuff like that, like just the community, everyone, like we all watched that event and we all came back and talked about it. Like, we're all gonna get this fucking console. Like, we're sold after seeing the games, you know, after seeing the console. Like, after
they got Spider-Man, you know. After
loving the PlayStation 4, like after seeing what the PlayStation 4 has done, we're still getting two more big games. You know, where Xbox is, you know, I'm not trying to talk shit about Xbox, but like Xbox is done. They're done for the year. Like, they're already focusing on the Series X.
That's what they call it, man. Xbox done.
But look at PlayStation. Like, PlayStation still has The Last of Us 2. They still have Ghost of Tsushima. They still have these two AAA bangers that are still releasing. They revealed the PlayStation 5.
A bunch of new IPs too. They revealed in the gameplay trailers. You know.
Yeah, man. Like,
a bunch that I'm actually interested in too. So that's hard. That's the difference.
It's hard to argue against the PlayStation, especially after what we've seen and played. You know, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Bloodborne, fucking Uncharted 4. Like, I can go on about the games that we've enjoyed. And you know, these games are going to get sequels on the PlayStation 5, and then on top of that, you're going to get new IPs. You're going to get the power and the ray tracing and the fast SSD. Like as a gamer, I'm fucking sold. You know what I mean? Like, to me,
zero load times, huh?
Yeah, we'll see about all that, man. That's some.
I know. I'm a little skeptical, but then again, like, what I was skeptical about you know what it's capable of, and they revealed that it can, and I saw it with my own eyes, made me realize, like, damn, there's probably more to this than meets the eye. You know, when it comes to the numbers.
A lot of developers and studios are praising, like, working with the PlayStation 5 and how, like, just how, you know, it's not necessarily about teraflops. Teraflops is really easy to use on, like, paper and be like, well, look, this console is very powerful because of the numbers, but, like, it's not necessarily always that. It's the fact that, like, all right, the PlayStation 5 is going to be powerful, but the speed, you know, with this custom SSD, that might be, you know, the future of console gaming, and that's what developers might like to use, you know, like it might be easier for developers to develop games on the PlayStation 5 because of that SSD, because of, you know, they'll work around that you know, amazing technology that's only in the PlayStation 5. And you know, that to me, that's already like a pretty big leap. Is like if loading times are going to be a thing of the past, because today, like loading, like they're pretty good at like hiding loading times, like in little like sequences and stuff like that, or maybe like in a cutscene or whatever. But like if you're telling me that there's almost little to no loading times, that's pretty impressive. Like that's a pretty big leap when it comes to performance in a game.
You know, I don't think people are gonna realize how important that is too. You
It's
know,
not
to not have to sit there for like 20 seconds.
it's not just about loading times that's impressive too. It's the fact that like if you take a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, for example, and the game is fucking big, it's massive, there's a lot of NPCs running around, and there's a point why you can't ride your horse very fast in that game. It's because it would take too much. It's hard. It would be hard to load everything up. You know what I mean? Like you're only able to like run on the you're only able to like move pretty quick on the horse when you're kind of like away from everything. I've noticed, and that's, to me, that's like, if the SSD is a beast, I might be able to ride that horse faster because now more things can like be rendered quickly. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
more things are going to be able to pop up quicker. Like the draw distances are going to be better. Like how many times have you played a game and like the draw distance sucks because, you know, it's far away and it's
I would
not
apply that to something like the Zelda on the
on the Switch.
freaking Switch. If you can load the entire map from corner to corner, and you use fast travel, it'll actually, like, you know, you can fly across the map to your destination. That'll
Yeah.
look pretty cool instead
Yeah.
of going to a loading screen because you're fast traveling. It's like, how about really fast travel?
Right.
That'll look pretty badass,
I
just to
mean,
fly across
that
the land.
that Unreal Engine 5 tech demo was fucking impressive, dude. Like if you're telling me that is the future of gaming, after what I saw, like the way the light bounces, the way, like there was this part in the video where like the rocks fell from the ceiling, and like just the natural way of light just entering the room and like the atmosphere from that little hole up top. It's so organic and it's so realistic, dude.
Yeah,
That's
that
just,
simulation is so accurate that it fools your mind, you know, when you see it.
and
People aren't aware that this stuff is happening all around them their whole life. And when you play a video game, if it does the same thing that you're familiar with, you don't question whether it's real or not, you know, for a split second.
right. I like that. I like that video a lot, and excuse me. I don't know if, you know, I don't know if like Unreal Engine decided to use the PlayStation 5 because they thought that the PlayStation 5 would best showcase that. Like I don't have those answers, or it just happened that they chose the PlayStation 5. But I do feel like there's always a reason behind everything, you know, people do in the industry. And like maybe they chose the PlayStation 5 because of the SSD, because of, you know, because of the architect and all that. And they were like, you know what, we're going to showcase this engine on the PlayStation 5 because to us it makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
But we will see, man. That engine is going to be it's going to be available to developers next year, which is yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, that tech demo was being ran on the PlayStation 5. Like they used all these like triangle what was it? I forgot what they were talking about, like the triangles and the ray tracing and all that stuff, all that tech. I forgot the wording that they were using. Like geometric shapes and everything just to create all this stuff. Like they showed that statue off, and it had like 500 million like triangles in that statue or whatever. Like,
Yeah, it was a ridiculous amount. They said it was like cinema quality or some shit.
and then they showed that room right afterwards that had like so many
A
of
grip
the
of them, huh?
yeah. It's like, dude,
And then
that's
on top of that, the light bouncing around. It's like, what the fuck, man?
like to me at the end of the day, like as a gamer, shit, I don't know. I'm just an idiot when it comes to this stuff. I don't know anything. I'm just, I follow Digital Foundry and all that stuff, but I have no idea what the hell these people are talking about. But I get an understanding. Like I get the point a little bit, and the point was all that shit was running on the PlayStation 5. Like that's all I needed to hear. I was fucking impressed. Like watching that video and then telling
You know what's funny? When I was watching it, I was thinking, I can't wait to see what this looks like on PC.
right. Yeah. I'm sure it's going to look pretty. I'm sure this is going to look beast on the PC. I'm sure it's going to look, I mean, it already looks amazing on the PC or the PlayStation 5. I'm sure it's going to look just as good on the Series X.
That fast loading, though.
I think at the end of the day, it's just exciting to jump into a next generation, dude. Like we're at the cusp, man. This is it, man. Like it's always awesome to like.
Hey, this looks like the biggest, leap
It
between
does.
consoles in a long time.
Well, we saw a pretty big leap from like, I felt like we saw a considerable leap from like, the what is it, like the Xbox to the Xbox 360 and all that. Like I feel like leaps don't happen too great anymore. Like if you look at it, goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's like the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro are already doing like some amazing shit. Like the Xbox One X is playing Red Dead Redemption 2 in native 4K. That's fucking amazing to me. And that's not a PC, that's a console. So, like, is the leap going to be that much bigger? We'll have to wait and see. But, like, I think this time around it's going to be more into the performance department. It's going to be more into, like, okay, we're already doing 4K. We're already doing, like, we already have the graphics. But, like,
It's like the groundworks, huh?
it's gonna be it's gonna be like more of the technical stuff, the CPU stuff, the behind the scenes
optimization and shit.
Exactly. Like, so to me, it kind of goes back to the whole like 30 frames versus 60 frames is like, all right.
Damn, they just create that and then
If this is
they inspire creativity. You know what I mean?
if this is next generation and you're still giving me 30 frames per second, I am gonna question. I am gonna shake my head because it's like, what the fuck, dude?
Bring it back, huh?
I think, and people love to damage control this subject and say, like, oh, well, 30 frames per second is very cinematic. Shut the fuck up, man. No, but like, if I can have 60 frames versus 30 frames, I'm gonna pick 60 frames over 30 any day. It doesn't matter to the game. Like, it can be a single-player, story-driven, cinematic game like The Last of Us. Dude, give me 60 frames. 60 frames is buttery.
Funny, with the frame rate thing, there's games that I've played that have had really bad frame rate issues, for like more classic consoles, 64 era and PlayStation. And, the low frame rate, I feel, is a memory of those good times. So when something switches from being like low frame rate to 60, it feels too fast. Like they can't connect with it like they did before.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like let's say we were playing 007, 4 players. That shit is like a slideshow. But if you do that at 60 frames, then all of a sudden everyone's like, huh? What? This is too fast.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
No, I got you. I to me, the most important thing, like right now, a lot of the games that I play on console are obviously 30 frames per second. And one, I'm used to it. And two, I harp on games hard that can't even maintain 30 frames per second consecutively, because it's like, dude, you're okay. We get it. You can't do 60 frames. We get it. You can't do 30 consecutively, like or consistently. I'm sorry. You can't do
Go back
30.
to the drawing board.
Yeah, it's like, but
Make it.
but your game is in 4K. Like,
Yeah.
there's this weird thing that we are in right now, and like games look fucking amazing. They look the best that they've ever looked on console, but somehow, so like the graphics look the best, but like somehow like the CPU and the performance, like it's not balanced. Like you have this beautiful graphically, created game, but the frames take a hit, and it's not consistent. And it's like, at least give me consistent 30 frames. And I know some games do that. Some of these studios out there can do that. But yeah, it's just that war is probably never going to end. If I see a game next generation running at 30 frames per second, I'm really going to question, like, what's the point? What's the point of that game? Like, why? I don't know. There's talks of giving you options next generation, like some games are doing right now. Like, for example, God of War on PlayStation 4, you can play that in 4K or almost 4K. It's not native 4K, 1440p or whatever. And then you can play that in 30, or you can play that game in 1080p 60 frames per second. But the thing is, the games that give you this option, the 60 frames are not even consistent. So it's like, well, if that's not consistent, I'll just go back to 4K 30 because the game looks absolutely beautiful. And I always appreciate a great looking game graphically. I do. I'm a graphics whore. I really am. I know you are too.
And that teaches you a little bit about the terminology and mechanics of why a game runs the way it does.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, when I put it to my big TV, it runs slower, but that's now because it's pushing more pixels, so the frames are gonna drop. It kind of teaches you a little bit about that stuff, huh?
Yeah, baby. What you snacking on?
I got these chicharrones, man.
Let's talk about some of the games on the PlayStation 5. What did you think?
Ahmed?
Dude, did you see that Ratchet and Clank?
That Ratchet and Clank. Oh, when like you're saying about the loading shit earlier, with that Ratchet and Clank, it was streaming multiple worlds.
He was literally jumping. He was literally warping in to different worlds, and it was like seamless. It wasn't like there was no load times or anything. It was just straight like loading into a world after another. And that, I know for a fact, you can't do that on the PS4. Like, that is a PlayStation 5 advantage right there.
Mm-hmm. So they're using that as a game mechanic, huh? The fast loading.
And then and like when you watch gameplay of the game, like it was just, dude, it was so fluid. A lot of things were happening on screen, the shooting. That game looks like a next generation game. Like, very impressed by that. Like, super tight. Super tight. Horizon, we knew Horizon for a while was, obviously they were working on a second one. It was obviously a trailer. But
hey, you're gonna be able to fly this time around.
They did say that the trailer, that whole trailer was in game.
Mm-hmm.
To me, Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation 4 is easily, and people will probably argue that it's the best, but it is easily one of the best looking games I've ever laid my eyes on. Like, there's been rumors, I don't know if it's true at this point, but there's been rumors that it's going to PC. I don't know. I haven't kept up with that, but like, I can't wait for the PC guys to experience Horizon Zero Dawn because the Decima engine is, like, in my opinion, the Decima engine is the best engine in the game right now. Like, Death Stranding used the engine. Kojima borrowed it from Guerrilla Games. Dude, the engine is just spectacular. And to see this engine on the PlayStation 5 or to see Horizon, 2, whatever it's called, something West or whatever. To play that on the PlayStation 5, knowing that the Decima engine is incredible, and I'm sure it's gonna be evolved by then, dude. Very exciting stuff. Like Horizon Zero Dawn is breathtaking, dude. It's breathtaking.
Man, you're breathtaking.
No, you're breathtaking. Oh, dude. Speaking of that, I can't wait to play Cyberpunk 2077, man.
Man, this showed gameplay of games coming out in 2022. What's up with Xbox, man? Come on.
Dude, I've always said that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be nasty, dude. That game is going to be nasty.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Is it gonna slay?
Oh, dude, that game is going to do some damage. And it's coming out at like the ass end of the generation. Like it's coming out like at the very end, dude. You know what I mean?
Oh shit. I need to get my drink real quick. I forgot it in the freezer.
Get that shit.
Here we go. Boom.
Bada bing, bada boom. If you're watching this video, I hope you guys are doing well. This is just a little podcast that I decided to do to talk a little bit about, consoles, video games, primarily the PlayStation 5. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so. It's going to be at Murad M Gaming. Go check me out. I'd like to do a little bit more of these YouTube videos. Podcasts is something that I'd like to do, get more into, but we will see. It is definitely hard to sit people down, my friends in general, and just talk gaming. It's hard. It's hard to do that, especially if that person is in a different state or country. But I'm glad I got the man, the myth, the legend, Isaias, on board. He's grabbing a drink right now. He's grabbing the snacks. Oh, shit. Get that drink, man.
Close one.
Get that close one.
I had the whole box in there.
Damn. So what's up, man?
Horizon.
What are we talking? We're talking about Horizon. Dude, what about that Demon Souls though, man? Fucking Demon Souls. That's a remake game, and that was being showcased on the PlayStation 5. So I never played Demon Souls, but I got into Bloodborne, Dark Souls, from Bloodborne, and then I played Sekiro.
I guess they started it. Demon Souls.
Yeah.
It's a way to describe a type of game, like FPS, you got platformer, and this one is Souls-like. That's what they call it.
Yeah, and I kind of jumped into the Souls games a little late. Like I never played 1 and 2 before I played Bloodborne. Bloodborne is what got me into it. By the way, it's a PlayStation 4 exclusive. So it goes back to PlayStation having these amazing games and these exclusives and what makes it unique. But Bloodborne is one of my favorite games, if not my favorite game on the console. And it was, it was a game made by From Software, which is a studio that I quickly fell in love with. And then I went and played Dark Souls 3. And then I jumped on the Sekiro. Sekiro is more faster paced, a lot of pairing. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to check out Demon Souls because I never played that one, and that was like you said. It was
What's cool about it is that you're gonna have an entirely different experience than the people that have actually, been there since the beginning. Oh, yeah. You started kind of late, you said, and you have so much love for these other that are using the formula, but you don't really want to take a step back to try where it came from. So bringing it all the way to the.
I would, but it's on the PS3, right?
Yeah.
I I don't have my PS3 anymore. And even if I did, let's be real, like
I'm not gonna go buy one, man.
That game is probably janky as hell now because it's like as we move forward, like we have like these expectations, right? And for some people they don't care, but I'm a graphics.
So they're gonna fix that on the PS5. When they remake it on there, they're not gonna bring it over janky. They're gonna correct all the problems they had before. So how cool is that gonna be?
That's the most exciting thing about this game is because, like I said, I fell in love with this genre, which is these games are known to be very, very hard. Very fucking hard. Like dying is part of the game. It's almost as similar.
You can't move on unless you die, huh?
I mean, that's how you learn. Like you fight a boss or you fight an enemy in an area, and like you don't know.
You just get stronger, so you push a little further, huh?
Well, the uniqueness about these games is it's all attack pattern and it's all muscle memory, and you have to develop that. When you start that game, you don't have that. Or you might have the muscle memory from like the previous games, but you don't know how that enemy is going to attack. Therefore, you are going to learn by dying. And you might not die right away, but you will eventually die for sure.
It's like guessing wrong until you get it right.
And you know that genre and these games are not meant for everyone, and that's okay. You know, some people don't like a challenge, some people do, but I'm super excited. And then like after seeing those screenshots and then that trailer, like. Dude, that game looks absolutely amazing. Like the lighting and just like, you know, we saw these like 4K screenshots and they just, dude.
And if they can run at a, proper frame rate with the resolution, it's going to look awesome.
If they can
with all that detail.
If they can hit 4K 60, I'm going to bust a nut. If they can get that game, dude, there's been rumors of Bloodborne. Because the only thing that Bloodborne has that hurts it is the 30 frames, and then in some areas it dips pretty low. But it's like, I would say it's like the majority of the time it's a consistent 30, and that game is just, it's a fucking masterpiece. But there's been these rumors that this game is going to play on the PlayStation 5 in 60 frames, or they're going to patch it up. And I really hope that's the case because that game is so amazing. It's and in a game like a Soulsborne style game, you want the frames to be high because that could be life and death. You know what I mean?
It's a freaking gotta pull that trigger quick. Type of deal.
What about that reveal though, man? That reveal, they like teased us throughout the whole show, and then they showed the tits in the end. How about that?
That's a good way to finish it, you know? They just build up to the end, too.
I swear, throughout the show, I was like, in these little segments between the games, they would tease, they would tease a little bit. They would, they had this really cool, like, they had the shapes and stuff like that. And the fucking presentation was amazing. Dude, the presentation was amazing, man. Like, the way it was done was amazing, and
it was epic, right?
That's how you do a show. Like that's how you do it right there. And then I know a lot of people said that they did not expect the tits to be revealed in this event, but they did it at the very end, and I love that, dude.
Didn't they break like a record for like the largest online viewed at once or some shit like that?
I think I would not be surprised if it gets 1 million likes on that video, because I think the last time I saw it was like in the 700,000. Dude, it's insane. I think it's the most watched gaming event ever.
Let me see. Yeah, they had some stats about it.
Pretty crazy stuff. The PlayStation 5 is a day one, ladies and gentlemen. Day one. And I plan on getting that game day one. Demon Souls. Resident Evil 8 looks sick.
Okay. It says PS5 reveal event was the most watched gaming live stream in YouTube's history. Damn.
That's pretty crazy, dude.
And all they're doing is showing you what they got. And they break a record, you know what I mean?
I mean, they did they obviously did a good job, right? It's not, like you said, like we're just showing you what it is, baby.
Just showing us his tits, and then bam. That's what it is.
Yo, dude, you're gonna have another router in your home. Boom, baby. Yeah, I don't know. I was impressed. I was very impressed, and this is coming from that fucking Xbox event that everybody walked away like disappointed. You know, everybody wanted to see Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay, and we saw a trailer. That game was on fire. Like, there was so much hype. They already showed the trailer off. People were so hyped up. The Xbox event rolls around. They're telling us that they're gonna show gameplay, and they reveal that trailer, and it is gameplay, but it's very cinematic. They don't show you like actual gameplay, like, hey, a fight scene, a guy moving around riding a horse. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was just like that event was so piss poor, dude. Like, there was
kind of shady, yeah.
There was a few things that were showcased that were really cool, but like it was just these like high end trailers, and we don't want to see that, man. Like, I want to see gameplay.
What were they thinking?
I've said this before. Like if you're gonna have like an event that's showcasing your next generation console, then show us your games running on that next generation console. Like, show us gameplay. I don't give a fuck
show
about
us
a
your
trailer.
Tits, man. Come on,
man. There was some hairy tits, dude.
Yeah,
some hairy tits. But
hey, look! It says 7.2 million viewers were connected during the stream. Fuck, man.
It's crazy. It's fucking crazy, man. It's fucking crazy, man.
7.2 million were connected. We're watching that stream.
You got any last things you wanna say before we wrap this shit up? You're excited for the PlayStation 5?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna end up getting.
Yeah.
Everything's looking real good on it.
Did that conference like impress you? Like, was that like enough for you to be like, yeah, like that this verifies my my purchase?
I did a couple of O faces, so yeah.
We didn't talk about the price, or did we? What do you think? Yeah, I think we did mention it a little bit. What do you think the price is gonna be? You think it's gonna hover around 500?
I think it's gonna be 6.
You think so? 6?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I've entertained.
But they'll call it $5.99. They'll call it $5.99. You know.
$5.99. I don't know.
That sounds
man.
better.
I don't see it happening, to be honest. And we can do a little bet, like a friendly bet, you know, like. I think it's gonna be $500 just because like I said earlier, the consumer can be kind of funny sometimes, and anything over 500 they'll be afraid. I even did like a little like I ask a lot of people. Like, I had a tweet the other day, and the question was, would you still buy the PlayStation 5 if it cost $600? And I had a lot of people said yeah, but I also had a lot of people that said no, 500 is the limit. So that was very interesting. Like, I wanted to gauge, you know, a lot of the people that that are on Twitter, that game. I wanted to know their opinion, and because this very well could be a $600 hardware, console device.
The way I see it's gonna be 600 is that this time around they're going more towards the hardcore audience. You know, the most passionate people.
I've heard that before. I've actually heard that before. I don't know if Sony mentioned this before, but I've heard that the PlayStation 5 is targeting that hardcore audience, which is awesome. Fuck yeah, dude! Like that.
And it's you know, it's a gift for the most passionate too. But then also, you know, on the same coin, you are willing to pay more for what you're getting.
I think you also have to understand the times. Like, the times have changed. Yeah, we got $600 for the PS3, but that was a long time ago, and that was a different time. You know, like, you can't expect the console to be $400.
Well, what was the price of the PS4?
PlayStation 4 released at $400.
400, huh?
Yeah. I don't see there's no way in hell the PlayStation 5 is gonna come out $400. There's no way in hell.
Yeah.
It's gonna be either $500 or $600 for this. It's doing 4K media and everything. This is a 4K drive. It's a 4K player.
Well, right now they're trying to convince you it's going to be worth it. So when they reveal it, you'll feel better about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to talk about the price, but I think
Right now they're showing you, look what it can
they're
do.
getting you
So
hyped up.
that price doesn't
yeah.
hurt as bad.
Of course, but they are waiting. Like PlayStation is waiting for Xbox. Xbox is waiting for Play. Like they're playing back and forth right now in this little war of like who's gonna announce it first. I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see, but I think it's gonna be $500, $499 for this bad boy. I honestly wouldn't even mind. This is my thing. Before we wrap this up, I wouldn't mind spending $600 or $700 for a next generation console if that power is justified. Because I don't want to buy this new piece of hardware that's gonna sit underneath my TV for 7, 8, 9 years, and it's just a small upgrade. You know what I mean? Like I hate that argument where people are like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna spend a lot of money on a console." Well, that console is a great investment if you're spending $600. That's gonna sit there for 8 years. That's a pretty good investment, I'd say. Especially if you are a gamer, if you play a lot of games, if this is what you love to do, that's a great investment. That's a fair investment.
And check it out. This one I feel is gonna have one of the longest cycles.
Yeah, you think so?
Of the consoles, because of what it's capable of right now. It's like revolutionary.
True. Yeah.
So they're like, what more do you need now? You can load it all up instantly. Can't go faster than instant. So they're gonna try to make as much money off of this as they can. It's gonna be a really long cycle.
And I also love the fact, and this is not to bring up Xbox again, but you have to, like, PlayStation 5 games are going to run on the PlayStation 5. They're not going to run on PS4. And there's a lot of people that argue against that, and it doesn't make any sense to me because when you buy a next-gen console, it's next generation. Like, it should, like, games shouldn't hold back next generation from this generation. You know what I mean? Like,
and you know what's going to help that?
What's
that? All digital, baby.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that way it doesn't have to be backwards compatible. It's digital. Right. You can keep all the games you've ever bought and not worry about what am I going to do with the last console.
It'll be interesting if PlayStation 5 will be backwards compatible to the PS4.
If anything, they might make them interchangeable, like the consoles where they got like sections you can like take out and replace.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
And then, it's slowly going to turn into like a computer, like with specs and hardware and requirements for games that you play.
Right.
Because that way, like, somebody that only plays kids games doesn't need to pay for the hardware for the hardcore games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could be a really cheap console for them, but it also performs for what you're going to use it for. That'll be pretty interesting if that's what the future is going to be like.
It'll be interesting. It's all interesting just because, yeah, I mean, we're going into new territory.
Yeah, like let's say your kid he has friends that that play a game and he would like to play it too. So you configure the console to the specs of the games that he's going to play, which is going to come out to be like kids games that are super cheap. Mm-hmm. So the console is like maybe $100 and that's it.
Right.
And then, as you want to play more demanding games, you upgrade it, and it gets closer to that $500 for the console or $600 for the console.
Right.
It's interchangeable pieces, man. That'd be kind of cool.
We could very well see that in the future. I think the digital version of the PlayStation 5 is going to be cheaper than the physical edition. And I'm sure that scares the shit out of GameStop.
Hey, but look at it. This is a sign that we're gonna phase that out.
We're obviously going slowly to more of a digital world, and like I'm not ready to give up my physical copies just yet. Like I said in the beginning,
I think this generation they're gonna convince us about digital.
I
on
mean,
console.
they've been trying to convince us about streaming for a while, and that's why Stadia is shit. Just because,
Hmm.
I don't think we're ready. We're not ready.
But
We're not ready to go all streaming, and we're not ready to go all digital yet. That's why. That's
well,
why
it's
there's a physical edition console.
the streaming is running the game somewhere else. Same thing like what do you call it?
It just doesn't make any sense because I mean, this can be a whole different video, but like the streaming thing is like not everybody has the best internet everywhere. There's people that have pretty shitty internet like around the world, so it's like that's not gonna work for them. The whole Stadia thing is crap, like their business model, by the way, and everything. But yeah, dude, like not everybody's on board with the streaming, just like not everybody's on board with digital only. And like
Well,
I
I think those are two different, completely different things, though.
right,
Streaming
but
and
it's
all
just
digital.
it's kind of the future though. It's like where we're headed. I will argue this though, even if you buy a physical copy of a game, how many games have day one edition or a day one patch? So it's like even if you are buying a physical copy, you still kind of have to be online connected, and you still kind of need that digital space. You still have to download a patch. You know what I mean? So like how physical are games? How physical are they actually? Because you still have to download that day one patch, which is online. You have to connect online. So there's a lot of there's a lot of arguments to be made there.
I guess what's holding it back is kind of the nostalgia of the experience of, anticipation for the game. When everything is so instant, you get it now. Remember like back in the DSL days, or not the DSL, the freaking 56K modem days with the telephone pole? You would load up a video on YouTube, but you gotta pause it and then come back like 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later to let it load before you hit play. But that got you excited about what you're about to watch, right? Now it's like just hit play and then you don't get that feeling anymore.
it just goes to me. It goes to like just collecting. Like I love having that physical
Mhm.
edition of a game. There's a peace of mind to it where it's like I feel like I really own this thing. And obviously, like just having a collection in a bookcase on a bookshelf is nice. But
To be able to see it in the physical world.
yeah, yeah, you can take pictures of it. You can share it.
And
You
then they
can
come with shit like a baby, man.
you can open up the box and sniff the soul out of it.
Can hold that baby.
Yeah, the Death Stranding baby.
Yeah.
But all right, man. I think that wraps up the video. I appreciate anybody who stopped by, who made it this far into the video. I really appreciate you. I hope you had a good time hearing my boy Isaias and me ramble about everything.
Oh damn, that Pikachu though.
Who's Pikachu, man? What's he doing?
The Josh's Pikachu.
All right, guys. You guys take it easy. I'll see you next time. Deuces.